Welcome to the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. This is the show to encourage you to live your life to the fullest and do fun work that fuels your lifestyle. Hi, I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. Every week, you'll be introduced to amazing guests, useful resources, and inspirational stories. You'll discover opportunities and perspectives to shape your version of living full and working fun. Hi there, and welcome to Season 9 of the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. I'm Gayla Scrivener, joined by my co-host, Fran Attilio. Hey there, Fran.
Hey, Gayla.
This season, we're exploring the theme, Don't Let the Start Stop You. It's a powerful reminder that while beginnings can be daunting, they're also the gateway to growth, success, and happiness. Throughout this season, we're discussing how to push through those initial difficulties and take that important first step towards your big goals, even when it feels overwhelming. I would like to wish everyone who's listening, Happy New Year! We're right into the brand new year, and I'm super excited, like always, but really excited about today's topic. Fran, what are we going to be talking about?
Oh, this is an exciting one. This is about, as we start this new year, and Happy New Year to everyone, our mindset becomes the foundation for everything we hope to achieve. And our mindset is our thoughts. So the way we think about our goals, challenges, and possibilities can either propel us forward or hold us back. And that's why starting with the right mindset and the right string of thoughts is important for making meaningful changes in our lives. This ties so perfectly to our theme, Don't Let the Start Stop You, because often the things that stop us are our own thoughts. It's our initial thoughts and beliefs that create those barriers to getting started. By addressing these mental roadblocks head on and admitting them and fixing them, we can clear the path for real progress. Change the thought, change everything.
Well, we're starting the brand new year, and a lot of folks have made resolutions or goals. And the narrative that's in our minds may be very excited that, hey, I'm going to accomplish these big things. But what happens, maybe by the end of the first month of the year, our narrative changes in our head. And I think that that's normal. What's your opinion on why traditional resolutions fail?
I think there's a few things. One is setting unrealistic, unattainable goals. We talk about planning. We've talked about that before. We'll talk about it again. But you need to look at what it is that you are trying to achieve and saying, I'm going to learn, I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week. Is that realistic with your schedule? And so we have this all or nothing thinking. So if you don't do 6 days a week, what if you got in 4? What if you got in 3? That's great. Because you weren't doing anything before, right? But because you didn't hit the 6, you're like, oh, I failed, so I can't do it. And again, these are all the thoughts. This isn't actual failure. It's our thoughts that stopped us because we thought, okay, we didn't do this, so we didn't achieve it. The other is perfectionism. Perfectionism is a disease in this world, not just this country, it's in this world. And the shift there is progress, not perfectionism. So when you start to see that you expect perfectionism, or whether it's for yourself or someone else, think, are we making progress or am I just stuck? And either way is not bad. If you're stuck and you haven't made any progress, okay, how can I fix this? How can I adapt and flow? We have to let go of these wrong messages. A lot of the messages we've been taught and raised with, no matter your age or where you live in this world, they're wrong. And we know ourselves best. And that's where we have to shift the mindset. It's trusting our own knowing with a capital K.
I love that you had said it's an all or nothing type of scenario, because I think that that's what does stop us. We go out of the gate running, and then we lose momentum, and then we just say, well, to hell with it. I'm just not going to even go. I will wait and restart at the fresh new year. I mean, I think that we want to start fresh, open a brand new book. That's the great thing about a brand new year. We can have a fresh start, but fresh starts can happen anytime through the year. So when we lose momentum, I think the first mindset shift we should have is we can have a fresh start any time of the year, any time of the month, any time of the day. We can just take a step back, take a deep breath, and shift our perspective, shift our mindset in whatever we're doing right then. And I think it's a perfect time. We might have set our business goals, our personal goals. It's nice to just take a fresh eye at them and reassess them and say, okay, with the hurriedness of the holidays, the hurriedness of what we were doing, the past quarter, are these truly the goals that align with what I want to do? Not what everybody else thinks I should do, but does it align with what lifestyle path I want?
I love that you say that, Gayla. And it comes to mind something in nature that reminds us every day there's a fresh start, which is the new moon and the full moon. Every month there's a new moon. Every month there's a full moon. And you can use those cycles of nature or some other reminder or set the 15th of the month or whatever is your day. But a new moon is about saying, okay, well, how have I done on these plans? What can I do better? And the full moon is to release anything that, okay, it didn't go so well. I'm going to let that go. I'm not going to hold on to it. You can use that. You can use anything. You could just make it the first of every month. You could use the last day of every month. But as a reminder that every day we wake up, we have a chance to try again.
Absolutely. Fran, you were just telling me before we hit record, you were talking about some science that had been discovered about our brains and about mindset shifts, that this is a fairly new development that we can actually change how we think.
It is. And it really blew my mind when I read this. You and I talk about this. I love studying the science of the brain. Think about the age of this world. And it was only 120 years ago that the American psychologist William James identified that the brain could change, that there was such a thing as neuroplasticity. It meant that you could change the wiring in your brain, the thoughts, how your body reacted to things. You had effect on your autonomic nervous system. Do you realize, though, after he said that, it took another several decades till it wasn't until the latter part of the 21st century that we all started to really see and believe this. That's not that long ago. That's our lifetime. And the belief that we have the ability to change our thoughts is what some people call manifesting, some people call goal setting. When you believe you can do something, when you tell yourself the right words, you can call it mantra. There's all kinds of tools, and it's whatever fits your comfort level, but you have the ability to change this. What are you telling yourself? We do this actually in our coaching process. And initially, the business doesn't realize we're doing this, but I ask them, what do they believe are their greatest accomplishments and what do they believe are their greatest obstacles? Notice I use the word believe because their beliefs are the biggest thing I have to work with. What they believe about themselves and their business and what they can or can't do is what I really need to work with and work on with them in their plan and shift that mindset to, wait, I can do this, or oh, this is just going to take a little longer than I thought. It was really interesting. 120 years ago is not that long for this to be discovered. And then when they said the latter part of the 21st century, I was like, holy cow, this is amazing. This is new.
Fran, is it something that changes overnight, our mindset?
This is practice. There is no final destination on mindset. And I've been working on it for several years now. And the one thing that made the biggest change for me, because I would get discouraged in the first couple of years I started to work on this. I was getting discouraged when I'd have a bad day or the thoughts would go awry or I'd start to be down on myself. What I realized is I have a lot of deprogramming to do, from my own childhood to how I was raised in religious beliefs to society to a lot of other things. So it's a daily practice. It's a daily practice of being aware of your thoughts, where they have to change. I'm still learning. I'm still growing every day. So no, it does not happen overnight. This is where the willingness warrior comes in. You have to be willing to put in the work. We always say that that's what willingness warrior is about. Well, this is the work. The work is believing that you have the power right inside you to change and create whatever it is that you want to change and create. You just wake up, you find your daily practice, and we offer a lot of different tools to do that. And whatever feels right for you, there is no one way. But if you put in that daily practice, whether you want to use the journal, that don't let the start stop you journal, and journal every day and talk about, okay, this is the thought I want to change. Maybe you create a mantra, maybe you meditate for 5 minutes, maybe just do some breathing exercises, maybe just take a walk. And you say, okay, how's the day going? What do I need to change? It sounds overwhelming to think, oh my gosh, is it a daily practice? It gets easier and it just becomes part of the process of how you live.
Well, this reminds me of my former mindset about a work week and my corporate think. we had talked about how we have shifted, and sometimes that old thinking of the corporate think, the old work style that we had still seeps in after many years of not being in a traditional work environment. I had it instilled in my head that my office had to be open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. And actually, because I'm the manager and this is how I trained myself when I was in the corporate world, I actually got to work earlier than my staff and stayed later than my staff. So my work day ended up being 6:30 in the morning till 5:30, 6:30 at night. So it's 12-hour work day, 5 days a week. And I created my business so that I could have this work from anywhere lifestyle. But at first, I was trying to maintain that because I thought I had to be available for my clients all the time, 24/7. And I slowly created systems to block off time for my work, when I would be available for my clients and when I would take appointments and when I would follow back. So I would start to have this structure. But it wasn't until maybe now about 4 years ago that I decided that I need to change my mindset of my work days to align with a work from anywhere lifestyle. When Robert and I travel, it gets stressful if you're trying to drive to a destination and then work the same day. And how can I figure out to incorporate the fun stuff and travel and experiencing life and work in a nomadic lifestyle? So I had decided about 4 years ago that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are my sit still client work appointments. That's when I have my client check-ins, I have appointments, I have podcast recordings, anything that I need to have video calls or set appointments. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday are been there doing that days. That is where we can travel. I guess that translates into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now thinking about this as more conversations with you and I, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are my focus days. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday are my flow days. I still may do projects on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but that's in a different type of schedule. It's not rigid of having appointments. And I tell you what, Fran, it took me a little while to get comfortable with that because I would come on a Friday. I would be like, oh my gosh, I have to be available on a Friday and take calls and do check-in calls. But I chipped away at this old corporate think. And now, 4 years later, I am so comfortable with this schedule of what my work days are. Doesn't mean that I'm not working on the other days of the week, but it's a different feel to the day. It's not so intense. And there are seasons that I might put in a full work day on a Friday or a full work day on even a Sunday, depending on what projects I have. But that's a more flowy day, I guess you can say. And I used to have this guilt, right, that I should be working today, but I'm doing this personal stuff. That has floated away. I don't feel nearly as guilty like I used to in my corporate think. It's like I'm supposed to be working all the frickin' time, but I don't have that anymore.
There are two phrases that all people should eliminate, which is supposed to and should be. So guilt is keeping ourselves trapped in the past, and worry is preventing us from moving forward into the future. Neither serves us. One of the words that comes to mind as you just shared your example is flexibility. We have to give ourselves the flexibility to flow around obstacles, around challenges, have a bad day, allow ourselves to be sick, allow ourselves to have to take a day because we have to take care of our kids or our house or a doctor's appointment or something. The flexibility is key. And that goes back to the beginning, which is some of the reasons why we don't make our goals and our resolutions is because we're not flexible. We're so rigid with our thinking. But yeah, I love what you just said because That's the whole key. And think about where you started, where when you took that first step to finally, and you made this schedule idea, that was the first step, and you kept working with it. And now it's formed, but it didn't happen overnight. You had to work at it, and now it has, and it'll probably evolve again.
It will. And for right now, it's really working. And one of the reasons why I created my business is not only have the freedom to work from anywhere and experience all of this stuff, but it's also to have the freedom to be there when we need to for family and friends to help them. My been there doing that days is not just for traveling. It is opening up and prioritizing time with my family that I need to, and we can take care of business or have fun things. Does that mean that on a Wednesday that I can't prioritize family time? No, but I can know that, hey, I'm going to shift that Wednesday work to another day. When I got more intentional, some people look at my calendar and are like way intimidated because they see all these blocks and they're like, oh my gosh, and it's so structured. But when I do time blocks the way that I do and get better at that, that actually gives me more freedom. Being more intentional with the time that I want to spend gives me more freedom, and it releases my worry and frustration.
I agree with all of that, Gayla. I think if some people saw my calendar, they'd flinch as well, but it's all intentional and there are blocks that work. I want to say this about starting a new beginning and changing your thoughts. A couple of things. First is just that the brain is stubborn. The brain is here to protect you. Right? That's what the autonomic nervous system is all about. It's about to keep you alive. It doesn't like change because change is uncomfortable. So you could be doing something that is working against your plans and goals, but the brain is like, no, let's stay here because this is comfortable. The first step to new beginnings is get ready for the uncomfortable. And nothing is perfect overnight. Uncomfortable means you now have to teach the brain this new feeling, this new practice, this new way of thinking is okay. And in time, it will get easier and it will become the default practice. So just be ready for that your brain and your body may resist it. The other is to connect with your body and really get quiet once a day, once a week, and just think through what's right and best and listen to all systems. The last is we actually have two thinking parts of our body. And that is the second one is now only being realized as an actual muscle that remembers, which is our heart. Our heart has its own memory, and consider it your love center. And I know when I say the word love, people think frou-frou things, but that's not what I mean. It's love of self. It's trust of self. It's your inner knowing. So use both. Don't just use one. Don't let the heart or the head lead, have them work together. New beginnings will be a lot easier if you put them together.
I believe that mindset shifts happen with continual personal development.
Yes.
Do you have any resources that you use that would help with that?
I'm a big believer that I'm happy to share the books and the people and the things that I love. I believe in the Yoga Sutras. I've shared that I'm a yoga teacher in training. For me, it's not just about the movement, which is beautiful and powerful, but there's 8 limbs to yoga and the other 6. So there's breathing and movement, which most people know yoga as, but there's 6 other limbs, which is about philosophy. And I resonate with that. That's a big guide for me. Whatever your guide is, I like certain authors. I listen to different podcasts. I have someone who I really adore, and Rebecca Campbell. She's more of a spiritual guide. I continue to look for and read. So for me, it's reading. Some people it's podcasts, but continue to explore and listen. But I caution one thing. Don't read a book or listen to a podcast or read a blog looking for the answer. Look for information that resonates with you and what information doesn't resonate with you. And if it doesn't resonate, question it. Is this holding up a mirror to something I don't want to face? Or is it really not my thing? Like, is this a belief that sounds, for me, I'm turned off by people who tell me what to do or what not to do or how to think. I'm going to trust myself. I do believe a little investment every day in your personal development. I use meditation. I use journaling. I do Reiki, which is an energy work. I'm doing yoga. I do listen to some podcasts. And I feel like now that I'm so open, books come to me. We share books. Someone else hands me a book and these things just happen. But once you open yourself up to personal development, it's a magical journey. It just really is transformative.
I believe that making the time for personal development, learning about how your mind works, learning more about yourself is one thing, and then learning more about maybe your craft to open up ideas that you can expand with, opening up, reading about business practices, seeing how other people are successful, but creating your own possibilities. Tell you what, I think that we should share a whole slew of our book resources down in the show notes. That's what we'll do. We'll collect some of our favorite books that has helped us shift our mindset in different ways. And we'll put those links of how you can get those books, most likely on Amazon. I'll give those Amazon links down in the show notes because I think it can start in just opening our mind to the possibilities. But I think some of those resources really need to dive deep in practicing mindset shifts and how our mind works, how we can actually change those thoughts and change those paths. I encourage you who are listening to pop down to the show notes to see my favorite books in different realms and Fran's different books and get some ideas of those resources so that you can change. It's a new year. You can have a new mindset. I encourage you to not only buy, the books that interest you, but put it on your calendar. Make an appointment with yourself for personal development, for expanding your mind. That's the first mindset change. You deserve to make time for yourself and don't get caught up so much in the hamster wheel of life. Take a moment for yourself. An hour a day is not a bad thing. So I believe that the key takeaway of today's episode is that a new year doesn't require a complete overhaul. It's about making intentional shifts in how we think about our approach to our goals.
I agree 100%, Gayla. Just believe in yourself and take that first step forward.
I encourage you to go to 10touch creative.com/flow forward. Fran, what is that free resource that you have?
It is the sign that sits above my desk that I look at every day over my computer. And we now offer it in a download package that has a printable PDF version and 3 digital for your phone, tablet, or computer. And it says, what can I do in this moment with what I have to keep moving towards my goals? So when I get a little frustrated or the day is starting to feel overwhelming, I just look up at that poster. And I'm looking at it right now. So, and I just think, okay, what is it with what I have? My energy level, my resources, my time. What can I do to keep moving forward? And so I encourage people to print that out and put it over their desks.
That free download, again, is available at 10touchcreative.com/flow forward. And that ties in a great deal with the Don't Let the Start Stop You journal. It's an 80-page blank slate that you can look at that sign over your desk and write down what you can do. Just get those thoughts out. Don't let the start stop you. And just for the price of postage, I'll send you the Don't Let the Start Stop You journal, and that will get you started. You can get that at livefullworkfun.com/journal. It's as simple as that. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. I know Fran and I love to talk about, I know Fran, you love to talk about neuroscience and the science behind everything. And I love to chunk things down into small, manageable processes. It's just a wonderful thing. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. Thanks for listening. And remember, don't let the start stop you. Live full. Work fun.